Welcome to the Entrepreneur Gene. I'm your host, Laurie Barkman. Each week, we'll hear from founders and CEOs to explore key decisions they've made for growth, value creation, and challenges along the way. This show is sponsored by the Business Transition Sherpa, offering entrepreneur advisory services from transition to transaction. Don't forget to hit subscribe, follow us for the latest episodes, and visit thebusinesstransitionsherpa.com for more exclusive content. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back to the Entrepreneur Gene. This is Laurie Barkman, your host. I am feeling festive and I'm so appreciative for the successful launch of this show. And I just wanted to take some time today to share a few things and a little bit of a year in recap mode here and offer some thoughts as we head into next year. So, yeah, the first thing I want to cover is what I'm thankful for this year. Spend some time on that. I want to talk about lessons that I've learned from my amazing guests. And we'll close out talking about what I'm looking forward to in the new year. So let's dive in with what I'm thankful for this year. Right out of the gates, I'm so thankful for my entrepreneurial community. There's lots of ways that I love to connect with people who are business owners and people who are serving business owners as professionals and advisors like myself. That's what I love to do day in and day out is ultimately, connecting and building a community. And this show is just one way I do that. But I'm very grateful for all the entrepreneurs that I've been speaking with, whether it's here on this show or workshops and different keynote presentations that I do across the country. And hands down, I mean, I'm just so impressed with entrepreneurs that are in the trenches and they are building. And look, that's one of the things that makes this show what it is, the Entrepreneur Gene. I want to know what makes entrepreneurs tick? What is something that's just motivating you? And it's been so satisfying to talk with my guests about the challenges they're facing. And thank you so much for everybody who's been listening and providing feedback. And for people who have also submitted a rating and review, I thank you so much to the listeners for all the feedback, all the support. And if you haven't yet submitted a rating and review in your favorite podcast platform, what a gift that would be, your holiday gift to me. So thank you if you're able to do that. And it's also really satisfying to answer questions. So people who are reaching out on LinkedIn, that's a great way to connect. And also send me an email. Hey, my email is right there front and center in the show notes. You can send me a note to Laurie at btsherpa.com. And we're going to get back to you, not just going to the abyss. So send me a note with your questions, what you like about the show, or if you have ideas of what we can do better, absolutely please reach out. And also, if you're new to the show, just checking it out, check out all the episodes. Why not? They're short, they're sweet, and I guarantee you're going to learn something. And if your favorite thing is to watch videos on YouTube and you want to scroll through a bunch of shorts and just kind of get a vibe of what we're about on YouTube, check out Business Transition Sherpa channel. We're over 2,500 subscribers. There's a big catalog of tons and tons of videos. And so definitely want to encourage you to check it out. And again, that's part of how we can be together in the entrepreneurial community, whether it's on social media or, of course, in Best is connecting one-on-one. And I'm going to have an invitation for you to do that in a minute. So the other thing that I am grateful for is my team. My team works really hard to put good content in the world for you. And they've also been so instrumental to help launch this show this year and also the launch of my online course. I created a new course based on my book. Book is something that many entrepreneurs can use no matter where you are in your entrepreneurial journey. And when I say many, I mean whether you're a startup or you're ramping up or you're running a mature business, there is something in the Business Transition Handbook that will help you and guide you. And the masterclass just takes it to a whole other level. So my team worked really, really hard to make the masterclass come to life. It's called the Endgame Entrepreneurship Masterclass. And it's a course series. And when we first started doing it, I thought it would take less time and energy. But you know what? It's okay. And I think the main lesson that I got from that and what I'm so grateful for is we put the class together with the student in mind or the client in mind. And we made the decisions about how to structure it, what content goes where, because we wanted to do right by the person who's taking the class and who's getting the learnings and getting the value. and doing right for your customers, the outcomes will be better. So I wanted to share that as an overarching message, whether you're a product business or service business, focus on the right experience, and I think the goodness will follow. And then the third thing that I am so grateful for this year are my family and friends. I continue to really look to them for inspiration, for encouragement. Being an entrepreneur is not an easy path. And so many people have reached out in my friend network that they're not entrepreneurs, but they read my book, they listen to the shows, and they really say, you know what, Lori, we are learning so much from you. We're learning a lot about you too, with things we didn't know. We've known you a long time, but we didn't know you did all the great work you're doing. And so, of course, that feels good. But I also know how much it's helping entrepreneurs. I have met so many entrepreneurs across the US and talked with so many people. I know it's hard out there. We're all struggling to do the right thing for our customers and our employees and our stakeholders, and it's hard. And we're all trying to find our way. And so my family are my rocks. They kind of help me through all my transitions. And so I want to thank them. And, my longtime friends, the people that are 40-year friends, we can probably, as we get older, count them on one or two hands if we're lucky, but I'm investing in those friends and family, and I'm investing in my community, and it really feels good. So it's good to give, and it feels good even more, special when we can all do some creative things together. So that's what we're doing with this show. And again, thank you to everybody who's been part of my community. So that's the first topic, is what I'm thankful for this year. I wanted to share the next topic, which is some lessons that I've learned from our guests. Now, this is a new show. We're just getting ramped up. And a lot of the guests are people that I have known in one way or another. Some have been newer friends, some are authors that I've just gotten to know, and some are my clients. So it's a nice mix. I guess I'll start by saying, look, there's three things that I want to spotlight, lessons learned from different guests. And the first one is that I do believe that there's an entrepreneurial gene, and it's a very powerful thing. And it does motivate people to get through the tough times. And it motivates people to keep going. Susan Quinn, one of the episodes, she's the president of Circle S Studios, and I just loved her story about she has a dad named Gene, and she said, yeah, they all said all six of them said they have the U gene. That was something that connected them, and many of the people in her family are entrepreneurs, and Susan runs a great business. And one of the things she said on the show was, I always knew I wanted to do something where I was the person deciding my own destiny, but it's not for everyone. And that is true. I've come to believe that as well, talking to all these entrepreneurs in different places and stages of their entrepreneurial journey. It's not for everyone. There's a lot of people that don't want the heavy weight on their shoulders. And when times get tough, they turn to other things. Um, Someone else, another episode, another guest that I want to point out is Greg Silvano. He's the CEO of Biased, which is a e-commerce platform, a SaaS platform that he's building. And one of the great examples of, our entrepreneurs born or they created, and his story was that his family gifted him when he graduated from high school, that they gifted him an LLC registration. And I just thought that was so fantastic. What a great example of them spotting the entrepreneurial spirit in Greg as a young guy. Another learning for me on this show has been around accidental entrepreneurship, where people start on a different path and then they find their way to entrepreneurship for one reason or another. And I think that the people that I'm going to point out that are all in technical fields. So I don't know if that makes it a coincidence or not, but that's okay. We're going to go with it. One episode is with Harry Haywood, and he's the founder and president of HBS Solutions. He's an engineer by education, and he'll admit that he's not the loudest guy in the room. He doesn't want to necessarily be front and center, but the path for him to entrepreneurship was a good one, and he's growing a very exciting business and really, improving year over year. And so excited for all the growth that Harry's been seeing in the business. And another person is Jessica Kenyon. She's the president of Conafe Group, and so going through a succession and her experience working through that, and finding her way on an entrepreneurial path, and wasn't necessarily um, what she had planned on, but again, finding an accidental entrepreneurial path. You'll want to check out Jessica's episode. And then the third person I'll spotlight here is Charlie Buscarino. And Charlie's the president of the Clarion Group, another example of someone who had really high competency in a technical area as an engineer and just found a market opportunity to carve out a niche for what they're doing, which is smart building services, and just went for it. So really, really cool examples of people that have found their way into entrepreneurship. If you love the insights on this show, you'll love the insights I share in my book, written for entrepreneurs like you who are building with your exit in mind. Take the next step in your business journey to make your business more scalable and valuable. Head on over to btsherpa.com/book to grab your free digital copy of the Business Transition Handbook. Or you can also click the link in the show notes, btsherpa.com/book. And then the third lesson that I'm taking away from my guest this year is how we can approach the world like a universal boomerang. And where the dots are connecting for me is one of my guests, Dean Menudo. Dean is so good. He's an expert at sales and selling, and really ultimately what's that about? It's about connecting, and he's the ultimate connector. And he came on the show. He is one of the episodes that I would definitely recommend. And when Dean puts good in the world, he does it because he wants to. He doesn't necessarily think that good's going to bounce back to him, but of course it is. But what he recommended to me when I said, "Hey, do you know anyone else who might want to come on the show?" He mentioned his favorite book and his favorite author of this book. And so the book is called Be the Sun, Not the Salt. And it's written by Harry Cohen, Dr. Harry Cohen. By the way, is also a Cornell alumnus. So when I met Harry, of course, we shared that in common. And so I'm holding up this book here. If you see on YouTube, Be the Sun, Not the Salt. It is not a thick book. It is not a big read, but it's a very powerful book. And the powerful message about Be the Sun is about being heliotropic. What does that mean? Well, if you're a plant, you're driven towards something. How can you be the person that creates that energy that pulls other people to you, as opposed to the salt where it shrinks away from you? And that positivity, that message of positivity, what Harry came on and when we recorded his episode, it was a great conversation. I would definitely recommend you listen to it as well. And Be the Sun, Not the Salt is a wonderful message about the universal boomerang in life. And then the third person that I want to mention in terms of this notion of universal boomerang is Nick Hutchison. If you listen all the way through to Nick's episode, there is an amazing story at the end. And I don't want to give it all away, but I'll just say this. There's an amazing universal boomerang story with Nick and his wife traveling and someone they met along the way. It's a crazy story. It's absolutely true. And I definitely want you to pick up the Nick Hutchison episode and listen to what I'm talking about. Listen all the way through. Don't just skip to the end, but it is the very last thing we talk about on the episode. So those are the things that I've learned from guests. And now I want to switch gears to what I'm looking forward to in the new year. The first thing I'm looking forward to in 2025 is continuing to do positive manifesting. If I write it down, if I say it out loud, wow, have I created an intention? And I've put it in the world that it's going to happen. I'm working on that with myself and my business. I'm also encouraging my clients to do the same. If we write our goals down, we're more likely to achieve them. And isn't it a great time of year to do that? So, as an example, this doesn't have to take a lot of time or energy. My son, who's in college, is doing this just on his own, not from coaching from mom, but I love it that he's doing it. He's been doing it now every year. He's a junior in college, and every year he has sat down prior to the new year starting in college, right? So in the fall, and he writes down his semester goals. And then at the end of the semester, he does just a little checklist, and he's got a bullet list in his phone, nothing fancy, right? He's using the notes app, and he's writing down what his goals are for the semester. So, somebody in college, it's probably things related to classes and friendships and, things of that nature. Now, you might do something similar. You might have something on the personal side that you want to set some goals around, and then you might have your business goals. It can be fancy and wonderful software apps. It can be something like a Post-it note, whatever it is, however you do it, write it down, because by manifesting your goals, putting it in the world, you will be able to check in on your progress. Now, for my son, what's great is that he'll go through what he calls the W's and the L's, right? The wins and the losses. Now, you don't have to call it that, but again, we're evaluating how we're doing, checking in. And the timeline that you choose, it could be a month, it could be a quarter, it could be semi annual, a year, whatever makes sense for you. But that's what I'm looking to do, right? So, what do I want to manifest? Well, I really want to have this positivity and intention. And my mission with my business, the Business Transition Sherpa, is look, what am I doing? My mission is guiding entrepreneurs to create life changing succession stories through 7 and 8 figure exits. And I know that's not easy to do. And I know it takes time. And that's exactly why shows like this are intended to help entrepreneurs on their path and on their journey. And if we can take stock of the wins and the L's and it helps you along the way, that is awesome. And that's my intention with this show. My second thing that I'm looking forward to in 2025 is making it happen, right? We can set a goal and do nothing, and but we all know hope isn't a strategy. We're not going to just sit back and do nothing. So you're going to see me out there. You're going to see me putting it in the world. You're going to see me continue to do Entrepreneur Gene. I'm going to be continue to guest on other shows through also my video channel and out on social media. But hopefully also you'll get a chance to see me live and in person, whether it's a keynote presentation or a webinar or a workshop. And I want to invite you to participate in those things if you can. And one thing that is clear that I've talked to so many entrepreneurs about over the last few years is that the entrepreneurial journey is long and it's hard, and we feel a weight on our shoulders. So, what I want to manifest together is how can we better avoid the bumps and bruises along the way? So, for CEOs and business owners who have businesses that are very dependent on you, right? Depend on your daily involvement, or you're feeling that you might not have as clear of a roadmap for how to maximize business value before a sale, or you're feeling that you're unprepared for what an exit process would look like, you've never gone through it before, and that can not only create costly delays, but it can also create a lot of anxiety and discontent when you go through the process and you just don't feel like that you were prepared. So if you're feeling that way and you can relate to those challenges, well, I want to invite you to talk to me about it. And for some of you, this can mean the difference of millions and millions of dollars. It can also mean the significant difference of a happy versus an unhappy exit in terms of how you feel about it. So I realize, yeah, we might be talking about years away, but that's a good thing. Give yourself some space and time to think about what is your big picture path, and let's work backwards on that. How can we build with the exit in mind? So if you think that's worth a chat, then I want to invite you to book a discovery call with me. Here's the URL. It's really easy. And I'm also going to put it in the show notes, timewithlaurie.com. So timewithlaurie.com. Use that link to book a complimentary 30-minute call. And let's talk about some of the challenges that you're facing and come up with some real recommendations of what you can do. So, the third thing of what I am looking forward to, in addition to meeting you and having more connections with you in 2025, is I want to continue to grow the podcast medium. This show is very exciting and it's growing. And I have a sister show, and I don't know if everybody knows that. So, I wanted just to put it out there. So, if you love this show and you're enjoying it, I'm so excited. And I want to invite you to also listen to the sister show, which is called Succession Stories. The Entrepreneur Gene invites people on the show who are looking ahead through that, through the front lens of the business. And, if you're driving that car, you're looking out ahead. The Succession Stories show often gets us looking in the rear view. And I think we can learn from both angles. Succession Stories is in the top 2% of podcasts globally. Wow, that's awesome. It's been around a long time. We've got a lot of episodes that you can dive into. Every episode is something you can learn from, I guarantee it. So I want to invite you to check out that show again and follow it so that these shows pop up in your player next year. If you know of anyone who would be great for either show, I want to invite you to nominate them. And you can send an email to contact@btsherpa.com or Laurie@btsherpa.com. Both emails work. And my producer will be in touch to help you to learn more. And so that's a couple of invitations for you, as promised. I want to just summarize, right? I covered a lot of things here. What did I cover? I covered what I'm thankful for this year, lessons I've learned from my guests, and what I'm looking forward to in the new year. So I want to leave you with one final thought. And the inspiration is from Harry Cohen's book, Be the Sun, Not the Salt. So I want to leave you with some recommendations from one of the pages, which is to light someone up. Observe people who are energy creators and what behaviors they exhibit. For example, they smile, they keep their word, they're kind, dependable, and honest. They do the hard work, they listen well, they speak thoughtfully, they're compassionate, forgiving, curious, and mindful of others. No one is perfect, but intention matters. I strive to improve, grow, and be the best version of myself for my friends, my family, my clients, and for you, my community of entrepreneurs. So, this holiday season, why not give the gift of a genuine smile that makes someone feel good, honesty that creates a trusted relationship, or thoughtful comments that help someone move forward? These are things to gift during the holiday season, and it costs us nothing, just intention. So I'm setting the intention as your host of this show, The Entrepreneur Gene. Why not try it for yourself in 2025? What will you do to be the best version of yourself? Manifest your vision in the universe, and it will boomerang back to you. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you next time on The Entrepreneur Gene. Hey, that's a wrap. This show is sponsored by the Business Transition Sherpa, working with entrepreneurs who want to escape feeling like a prisoner in their own business and to eventually let go flawlessly. If you loved today's episode, be sure to subscribe to the podcast. And if you want to help support the Entrepreneur Gene, I'd encourage you to leave a rating and review. Ratings and reviews truly help our show grow and get in front of more entrepreneurs just like you. If you do leave a rating and review, we'll be so happy. Take a screenshot of it, send it to my email, Laurie@btsherpa.com, and we'll send you a free digital copy of my book, The Business Transition Handbook. And we'll also enter you to win one of our monthly swag boxes. For show notes, including links to everything in today's episode, be sure to visit btsherpa.com. Also, as a reminder, you can watch this full video interview on our YouTube channel for the Business Transition Sherpa. While you're there, be sure to check out videos from our award-winning podcast called Succession Stories. We'll see you next time on The Entrepreneur Gene.